Ever since Atari Incorporated released Pong in 1972, the video game industry has blossomed into one of the most popular industries in the entire planet. Since then, video games have gone through an entire evolution of styles, genres, and overall quality. However, like any great media, it also has its share of controversy. And perhaps the most discussed controversy of all is the inclusion of explicit violence and blood. Games like Dead Space, Grand Theft Auto, and Call of Duty. And that's just to name a few. Many people believe that video games with violence put into them are actually having a huge influence on people. Are video games actually responsible for rendering the behavior of the individuals that play them?
It's always going to affect you in some way, but to say that there's a direct correlation between people who play violent video games and people who go out there and do violence is a completely ridiculous sentiment altogether.
Maybe for younger children, at a young age, if they start seeing a lot of violent video games, it might desensitize them to things like violence. They might be trying to act out a scene in the video game when they're playing with their friends. Next thing you know, they're hurting each other.
To get more insight on this issue, we decided to contact Chris Owen, an expert in the video game industry.
I can see how somebody could get wrapped up in video games and perhaps become more aggressive. However, it's important to realize that you don't want to be playing these 8 hours a day and get constantly desensitized to everything. But at the same time, as long as you keep it as an adult rating, there shouldn't be too much of an impression left on for a younger audience.
Is it even necessary to make them so violent? Since when did decapitation become such a popular trend?
There are lots of great entertaining games where there's no blood, there's no violence, there's no reason for it. It's strictly for shock value. I don't see a problem with it. I think it's kind of interesting to see where they go with it from a technical point of view, but I don't think it's necessary all the time. Video games don't need to have violence to be fun. Parents won't want to buy it for their kids because it's too much violence.
But while parents have every right to be concerned for their kids, how is it that these underage children are obtaining these games in the first place?
There are a lot of parents out there that will let their kids play these games that have excessive violence in it. You either want your kid to play the game with the excessive violence, or you don't buy the game and you follow the rating system.
Regardless of their influence, video games will no doubt become even more popular in the years to come.